Okay, here's the NRL 2019 Round 11 preview. We're starting with the Eels Panthers. That's the first game of the weekend. While the Eels have lost the odd few games recently, they're at home and their home form is terrifying if you're the away team. The Westbank Stadium, they've scored a lot of points at home since that stadium was opened, and they're playing the Penrith Panthers, a team in complete and utter chaos and freefall. I can only see one result coming out of this. I can see Parramatta just being angry at losing at the weekend and just punishing the Panthers for being so poor. They beat the Panthers earlier on in the season. This is the rematch. I can see them beating the Panthers again. The Panthers have really not got going this season at all. They've only won 2 games. Some heavy defeats in there, and they're coming up against an angry Parramatta side, I would think. They would want to put a lot of points on the board and send a message saying, we're better than our recent form suggests, because they have started to lose a few games that earlier in the season they were winning. So this is the ultimate chance for the Parramatta Eels to have a bounce back game and to get some confidence back into their side, because they've had a few wobbles, mostly away from home, mind. Their home form is good though. They're at home. So this could be a long afternoon for the Panthers. Then the Sea Eagles take on the Titans in the next game of the weekend. Titans, very similar to the Panthers, they are really struggling this season. They are also in freefall. The Sea Eagles are going under the radar again. They might have lost the odd couple of games here or there, but they've been pretty solid. They've had a long win streak recently. They may not be the strongest squad out there, but they are defying what's on paper with their actual form as a team. They play for each other. They're at home. They are a pretty solid side. And they're going to be very tough opponents for the Titans. The Titans, they have no direction, they have no flow to their game, they don't have an identity. The Sea Eagles have an identity. It's playing for each other. They're tough to play against. They are a very, very solid outfit. They're not expansive, they're not outstanding in that sense, so they're going to score like highlight reel tries from minute 1 to minute 80, but they work hard for each other and they grind out results and they win games. So I'll go with the Sea Eagles in that one. Then we go on to the Knights Roosters. This, I think, for me, is the game of the weekend. The Knights have been on fire the last month. The Roosters, they have a few injuries to contend with, and they've been misfiring in the last couple of games. The Knights are at home, and they've been really on fire the last couple of games. Mitchell Pearce and Callum Ponga are really setting the pace for the team. Danny Levi is stepping up to the plate, and David Clemmer is leading their forward pack, and Mitchell Pearce playing his former club. That's going to be really, really interesting. Cooper Cronk obviously having recently announced he's retiring at the end of this season. Is that a weight off his shoulders? Will he now relax into the game? Will he start dictating play to the Knights? It's going to be an interesting battle between Mitchell Pearce and Cooper Cronk. It's going to be a really interesting battle between those two players, and whoever can win that little battle could go a long way to winning the game. I can't call this one. It's going to be a fun game though. It could be a high scoring game, looking at how the Knights have been playing recently and how the Roosters can play when they're on form. This could be a thriller. The Raiders are playing the Cowboys. The Raiders won the first meeting between the two sides, and they would want to bounce back after last weekend's close defeat to the Rabbitohs. The Cowboys, they've hit a bit of form. They're starting to win games. Now, the Raiders are missing a few players through injury, John Bateman being one, Jordan Rapana being another. But they, again, much like the Sea Eagles, they have that team unity kind of thing. They may not be the best team on paper, but when they play for each other. They put a shift in. And they're also looking much improved over last year. Something to note as well. The Cowboys, they're inconsistent. That's their problem. They've gone on a lengthy losing streak this season. They've started to get the odd win here or there. They need to be more consistent. This could be a real interesting battle. The Cowboys losing at home early in the season to the Raiders. They're going to want to have some vengeance there. The Raiders, though, they're going to want to bounce back from that defeat to the Rabbitohs. Could be a really fun game to watch. The Warriors Broncos. The Broncos obviously have started to get a few wins together now. They've given a massive head start to their rivals. It's been a tough start of the season, a tough start for Anthony Seibold as their coach. The Warriors, consistency, but they're both roughly similar ability in the table, similar level in the table. The Warriors are at home, and the Warriors' home form could prove crucial to their success this season, how far they go. And when the Warriors want to play, they can score a lot of points. And the Broncos defensively, there are still some issues there. there are some issues with the lack of experience and depth. So if things start going against the Broncos early on, watch the heads drop. That's something to keep an eye out for, is the confidence of the young players and the senior players stepping up to the plate and being leaders on the field and in the dressing room at halftime. That's going to be crucial. Can't call that one. I'm not really a betting man, and you'll notice a lot of my predictions are wrong. I think the Raiders Cowboys is going to be close. The Warriors Broncos is going to be close. The Knights Roosters is going to be a very open game. I'm going with the Seagulls to beat the Titans and the Eels to beat the Panthers, but they're the only two games that I can really call here. The Rabbitohs Tigers, that could be a close game. The Bunnies, however, are the form team at the moment in the league. I think they are the best team at the moment in the league. Wayne Bennett, I mean, the guy's a master tactician and probably one of the best coaches of all time. But it is a coaching change with the Rabbitohs. Obviously, they had Anthony Seibold last year. He's now gone to the Broncos. And only the Burgess brothers have really had some in-depth experience recently of being coached by Wayne Bennett. So it is a new voice in that dressing room, and the players have responded very, very well. They've lost a couple of games this season, but for the most part, they have looked really, really scary to play against. They are on fire. And Greg Inglis's retirement hasn't affected the team whatsoever. Not that I thought it would, but when you lose a player midway through a season to retirement, that can have a negative impact sometimes on the rest of the squad because they've lost a teammate, they've lost a leader. But the Rabbitohs, no, they've gone the other way. They're playing more motivated because Greg Inglis has retired, because they've lost their colleague, their friend, a leader. They're fighting for Greg Inglis to say, look, this is for you, buddy. So the Rabbitohs are exceptionally dangerous right now. The Bulldogs pushed the Storm all the way in the first meeting of the season, between the two earlier in the season. And the Storm need to be very, very careful. The Bulldogs are very unpredictable. If the Bulldogs want to play, they can throw the ball around. They're a young, inexperienced side, but they don't really have much fear. It's more the competence level and the experience level is counting against the Bulldogs, but they don't have any fear there. They will throw the ball around. They will target Cameron Smith in defence, for example, like they did with Atkinball, running him over several times. They will target certain players in defence. And the Bulldogs, they have no fear. They're not going to die wandering. They will go out there and throw the ball around and be a carefree attitude. The Storm, there's a reason they're so consistent. They rarely lose games. Their win percentage all time is telling. They are a machine. They are a purple machine. But the Bulldogs are very unpredictable. And they won at the weekend, so they're also confident. They know they can win games now. And that could be a tricky banana skin for the Storm, but I still have to see the Storm as favourites there. And finally, we get on to the Dragons and the Sharks, the final game of the weekend. The Dragons are in freefall, losing 4 in a row. They're missing Widdop, they're missing Sims. The Jack DeBellin saga rumbles on. They're coming up against the Cronulla Sharks side that's inconsistent and also has some injuries plaguing them. But the Cronulla Sharks, while they're inconsistent, they lose one, they win one. They can bounce back more easily to a defeat than the Dragons. The Dragons have just lost all form and their confidence is gone. They had a heavy, heavy defeat to the Knights in the last round. The Sharks had a heavy defeat as well, or a bad defeat. The Sharks will be angry. The Dragons, I don't know where they go. They have no real direction. There's a lot of mistakes in their play. Defensively, they were hopeless against the Knights. They were clearly outplayed. They could barely get any tackles in the opposition half, let alone the opposition 20. So they going forward, their attack has been blunted, and defensively they were outclassed. They were dominated by the Knights in the contact zone, and the Sharks have that ability to dominate the contact area and be prickly to play against and break up the play and break up the momentum of a game. And I think the Dragons need to get their hands on the ball, and I think the Sharks will be wanting to break up the play, disrupt, be physical. And that could be an interesting one. I think the Sharks are slight favourites in that one. But there we go. There's the preview for round 11. Please place your thoughts below. If you're a fan of any of these NRL teams, let us know your thoughts. Please like and subscribe. And I'll have some more videos for you very, very soon.